I was hiding, just like the previous corrupt mayor of Otter Creek, Russ The Suss. The world wants to know, where is he? We've even thought about dispatching the Levy County Sheriff just to do a wellness check on him. We're about to tell you what we know. Living in Otter Creek sometimes feels like living with real-life garbage pail kids. Russ the Suss, Mary, Jail is Scary, Math, Mail, you name it. Don the Con, there's many more. Lynette, Septic Boy. We never even knew this place existed until we started to look for a geographical location that was the center hub of some of the major cities in Florida. Because we like auctions and we like to buy from auctions and then resell. So we wanted to be smack dab in the middle of Tallahassee, Jacksonville, Orlando, Tampa. We didn't want to be anywhere near Miami. We knew that for sure. And we wanted to be on the Gulf Coast. And so we found the place that was smack dab in the middle, this little place called Cedar Key. We looked at a lot of properties in Cedar Key, but they just didn't have the cell coverage that we needed to work online. We work from our cell phones, we sell from our cell phones, we create videos on our cell phones, and so Otter Creek had the cell tower. That piece of property became the property for us. Little did we know there was going to be a mayor there, known to the world now as Russ The Suss. There's Russ The Suss.
In one of his many pickup trucks.
There he goes.
He loves to drive by with his windows rolled down and just spying on everyone in the town.
When we first moved to Otter Creek, we were invited to the very first town hall meeting in December 2020. You remember that day, George?
Oh, yeah.
It was the most dysfunctional, it was the most crazy event we had ever seen in our lives. And we both went home, and it was because of Russ The Suss. He was literally screaming, yelling, threatening all of the people. And we looked at each other and we went,
Why didn't we film
why didn't we film this? Now, we know it's all recorded on a tape, and we have information requested that tape. We haven't received it yet, but that's besides the point. We just looked at each other and went, what did we just get ourselves into? The last town council meeting, Russ The Suss, he did not show up. And everybody wants to know, is he behind bars like he belongs? Well, to this point right now, here's what we do know, okay? We know Russ The Suss did not show up to the town council meeting. We also know he did not let anybody know he wasn't going to be there, including the town lawyer, Mr. Worm. Or if you say it like Russ does, Mr. Worm. Yeah. Worm. So we know Russ The Suss wasn't there, and everybody wants to know, where is he? He hasn't signed over the accounts for the town. He didn't show up. He didn't let anybody know he wasn't going to show up. Is he behind bars already? Here's what we do know. To date, as of right now, he's not behind bars. Now, I want everybody to know that's the end goal. That is 100% the end goal. We have one person that has reached out to us and said that they saw him driving one of his trucks on Route 19. They were going opposite directions. We have another person that's reached out to us and told us that the truck went flying by a curve downtown Otter Creek. That's not Russ The Suss's typical MO when he's driving his trucks. He loves to creep on the people around the school, around different individuals and residents' homes. So we question whether that was even him in the truck or not. Right now, he has put his creeping on a little bit of a hold. Maybe because we've called him out on it. Maybe because the residents of the town are tired of it. Maybe because he thinks somebody's coming to put him in cuffs. But where's Mary? Mary is just started walking from her home. Mary, we've got questions. We want to know what the emergency is. Mary, the town wants to know what the emergency is. Okay, so Mary is on the phone, no doubt, with the Levy County Sheriff. It may be Russ The Suss. Let's hope it's Russ The Suss. But Mary is coming to work, but she just turned around and left. Maybe we'll figure out what this actual emergency is. Throughout this entire process, Mary has been the core of this corruption. There's no doubt about it. She's the one that came up with numbers stealing from me for my water bill. And we started to actually share some of this corruption online. We were even followed, if not stalked, by fans who wanted to come into Otter Creek and actually fight the fight as well. So Mary, through this process, has been warned over and over again, do not steal from people and do the right thing. And video from 3+ years ago was shared because she chose not to do the right thing. As a matter of fact, for a year from home, right here in Hale's headquarters, every time I would mail in my check with my water bill, because you can't pay your water bill online in Otter Creek. You have a couple choices. You can pay with a check, you can pay with cash, you can send a money order. That's it. There is no online option, and nor would I ever give them access to my credit card to charge my credit card. They're thieves. And so through this process, every time I sent in a bill or the payment for the bill, I would also send a note. Your bill came to my home after the due date. They send the bill directly to my home. It comes to my home and it's due a week before I actually get the bill. So what did they do? Add on to charges. Why do they add on charges? Because they need money. They're broke. You have Russ The Suss, who can't manage his own finances, and therefore he should have never been in charge of managing the finances of a town. Through this entire process, I warned Mary, note after note after note, with bill after bill after bill. Do the right thing or I will be filming this and it will be put out on the internet. And she scanned all of those. They're in the system. I know that because Mary actually printed off some of the copies of it for me. And when I got back, I finally had it. And we went in and we started to film. And we filmed the corruption. We filmed what she was doing inappropriately. The office, which was a complete and total disaster. Like, how can a person even work in an environment like that? By the way, that environment was created by Mary, not by others. It was Mary who created that, could you even call hostile work environment, dysfunctional work environment? Just horrible, horrible. To the point where Mary actually placed hands on me, which is illegal in the state of Florida and other places as well, and pushed me out of her office. That's not okay. That is a public facility. She is a public servant working for the public. All information is public. As I asked her, just itemize my bill. Mary, do the math for me. Which obviously I knew Mary could not do such things. She didn't have the skill set. It was apparent that she didn't have the skill set for that job just by walking into the office. So from that point, that day, I pressed charges. The police went, press charges. And from that point on, we were told that Mary resigned. Well, in the meeting, we were told she quit, then she resigned, and there was a little bit of an argument with the counsel and the lawyer as far as what that terminology should be. And that terminology is pretty important based on where she goes from there. But what happened, we recorded her coming back to town hall, and another person recorded her in town hall when all she was supposed to be not there. And then Russ The Suss and Richard were filmed taking things out of town hall. Look at this.
I had nothing to do with that office. That was the clerk's job.
I would like to see if you could get an answer from Russell. What was removed from town hall in the midst of a lawsuit?
What former clerk's personal
that's not public comment there.
He says it's her personal item.
Russell doesn't know anything about that office, and yet he knew enough to know what was Mary's personal items and pull them out with Richard. This was the second truckload that was taken away from town hall. We were told there were multiple trucks, multiple truckloads. The filming started on the second truckload. We were also told by another resident of the town that Russ was seen flying by to Route 19, not to Mary's house where he claims all of this stuff was Mary's. So where's Mary in all of this? What's going on with Mary? Well, here's what we do know. We know that Mary had health issues before all of this, and we know that Mary has health issues now. Mary had a stroke. Now, when I first heard that Mary had a stroke, I got to tell you, my heart sunk to my stomach. And I went, oh my goodness, I really, really hope that I'm not the cause of this. And then I started thinking, you know what? How in the world, Jeremy, can you be the cause of this? You're not the cause of this. Mary is the cause of this. Her health issues are based on how she lived her life, choices she made, and things that she has done. And that affected her internally. Now, any stress externally from what she was doing in town hall was also her life choices. Again and again and again, she was given the opportunity to do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing, do the right thing. Not only that, remember those stalkers that followed us to Otter Creek? For over a year, they were bashing Russ The Suss. They were bashing Mary publicly on Facebook platforms and putting signs up around the town. You think that maybe caused a little bit of stress for them? I'm gonna guess yes. But those stalkers want to place blame on other people instead of take the responsibilities for themselves. So all of this is going on. Mary has a stroke. Last we know that Mary was in a rehabilitation center. We know that Mary is talking very clearly, and we know that Mary is not innocent in any of this whatsoever. As a matter of fact, the next town council meeting, you're going to find out some really, in my opinion, awful things about Mary. Wow, she's in the rehabilitation center. It's just mind-blowing. Is she out yet? To my knowledge, she's not. What I do know, as I'm recording this right now, in 2 days, I give testimony in court based on her battery of me.
Ain't no clerk, ain't no show.
People want to know, is Mary going to jail for battery? No, she won't go to jail necessarily for battery. She actually will get charges, and that's going to limit things that she can do in her life. But I don't think she'll go to jail for that. Now, there's another question. Can she go to jail for the $1.4 million that's missing? And will Russ The Suss be bunk bed buddies with her? So we all know Governor Ron DeSantis handed over a check for $1.4 million for the town of Otter Creek for internet. And now Central Florida Electric is bringing fiber optic to everybody in Otter Creek, all of Levy County. So what happens to that 1.4 million? What happened to the 1.4 million? Well, to date, we don't know 100% for sure. We have heard that it was never released for the town of Otter Creek. So you got to understand, for a governor to come in and say, hey, I'm going to designate 1.4 million for internet for this tiny town of 100 people, and you think he's just going to sign an actual check? I mean, you got to see the huge overinflated balloon check for the PR pictures, but you think that check is just going to go immediately to Russ The Suss? I don't think it works that way. I also don't know, but I don't think it works that way. I think there's all kinds of audits that happen. In a town like this, you have to have audits. And we've shared some of those audits already on the channel. We've shared a lot of the things that we're already talking about on the channel. There's a huge playlist on the channel. It's all about Odd, O-D-D-E-R, Creek, because things get odder and odder and odder. So I don't believe the governor was just going to go, here's $1.4 million. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we do know is Mary did not register the audit with the state, and therefore the state was withholding funds. It was actually one of our fans that shared that information with us, and then we shared that with the new mayor, and guess what happened that day? They got the audit in. When mere moments they got the audit in, and the state was now can release funds to the town of Otter Creek. Why didn't Mary do this? Why didn't the other clerks do this? There were 60 hours of work supposedly being done in the office a week. $4,000 of town funds being paid for these people, and they didn't even submit the audit to the state, which releases state funds to the town. Not only were they taking the money from the town, they weren't doing the things that take mere moments to get money from the state for the town. So that 1.4 million, to date, thus far, nobody knows. Has it been released? We don't know. Will it be released? We don't know that either. Hopefully it has not been released yet, and hopefully it will be released and can be used from some actual real projects in the town of Otter Creek, since Central Florida Electric's bringing fiber optic to everybody. George and I, we're getting 2 gig for $100. I've never seen a deal so good in all my life. Speaking of money, have the accounts been transferred yet to the new council, to the new mayor of the town? Can bills be paid? This is a huge thing. Remember, Russ The Suss intentionally sabotaged the town and the new mayor, not releasing those accounts over to the new mayor. So I think what we were told in that meeting is there was, I think it was 6 accounts, a total of 6 accounts. Some of them are investments like CDs that hold a few $1,000s. I don't know what the actual amounts are. So I haven't asked. Again, it's public information, but I haven't asked. They have so much going on their plate anyway, but I'm going to try and answer the question. Those accounts, I believe there are 6. What happened is the new mayor went to get those accounts transferred over to herself and for the vice mayor to actually write checks. And again, both of them would sign those checks versus Russ The Suss and Mary DeGroot, Mary, life is scary. Life in jail is going to be scary. So they removed those 2 names. And remember, Russell and Mary were not related by blood, but they had family members who married each other. And so that's just an area of huge red flag. And whose names are on the checks? Russell and Mary's. Another huge flag, right? And so the bank, because of all the exposure online, wouldn't actually release the accounts to the new mayor and the new council and the vice mayor. And it was just a nightmare for them to work through. And you saw that in the past meeting. And to date, I have confirmation that the banks have the accounts in the new mayor, vice mayor's name now. They can legally write checks now. I do not know how much money's in those accounts. I have not asked. Some of those accounts are probably for grants, such as the water grants. We've seen grants up to $600,000. Those accounts have to be kept very separate. They can't be mixed with general accounts, general funding. They have to be designated accounts for the designated purpose for those project monies. So, are the accounts in the new name? Yes. Can they write checks? The answer is yes. Are they writing checks for the bills? You have to remember, they don't even know what the bills are. So while mail is coming in, there's been a mountain of mail for the past 2 months that's not been paid and just piled up. Not only that, they have to try and find it in the dump of Mary's office, which is mind-blowing. How could you, number 1, work that way? And how could you, number 2, not set up the next person for success? Mary's refusing to talk to them about being successful. Russell's refusing to talk to them about being successful. What bills are being paid? To date, I don't know. I do know in the last meeting that there was a list, finally, a list of bills was given to the council. It was listed out what the bill was and how much. I didn't see that. I didn't ask for it. I could ask for it, but I didn't. They have enough things to worry about right now. So I'm assuming, or I'm expecting, that bills have been paid, such as the bills for the electric, so that our water treatment plant keeps on pumping water, even if the water is killing our teeth and potentially our pets and maybe even our people. It's near impossible in a town so small not to have family connections. And when you have family connections, you also have corruption. And there's no doubt this town has a tremendous amount of corruption. So I already mentioned Russ The Suss and Mary, mail is scary, bills are scary, jail is scary, everything in life is scary. There is a connection because both of them had a family member who married each other. So they're now related through a marriage, but not by blood. But there are people in Otter Creek that are related by blood. So you see on the council Gail. Gail's the blonde, and she doesn't say much. And Gail doesn't say much because she's a processor. She's a thinker. She takes it in and she thinks. And let's be honest as well, she also has hearing aids. And the sound isn't the greatest in that facility. That will be fixed here very, very shortly. But Gail is connected by blood to Russ The Suss. And I can't imagine the conflict that could be with family there. And yet I applaud her for standing up and doing the right things and voting the way that the people who voted in her want her to vote. I mean, that's an incredible thing. And people want to know, what about Russ The Suss and Don the Con? Are they related? Well, to date, I don't know of any blood relation or marriage relation between Russ The Suss, Don the Con, Mary, or individuals such as Laura Mott. You go, Laura Mott, you haven't talked much about her. Laura Mott's probably been the smartest one in this whole ordeal. She's in the thick of it. She's in the corruption, yet she's kept her mouth shut. She's one of the only individuals where I said, you know, the smartest thing you could do is keep your mouth shut. I've said the same thing to Mary. The smartest thing you could do is keep your mouth shut. just stop. Stop. Every time they open their mouth, they incriminate themselves. Every time they don't do what they legally have to do and open their mouth and give information, they incriminate themselves. And so Laura Mott has actually been one that has not further incriminated herself. That doesn't mean she's free from the incrimination or the criminal acts that have been committed. They were under her tenure as mayor. So it was Russ The Suss, and then it was Laura Mott, and Russell served as vice mayor during Laura Mott. So who was really running the place? It was Russell. Laura wasn't running it. It was Russell telling Laura what to do. And then Laura actually stepped down to run for county commissioner, and she lost. And then Russell took back over, which was probably the plan in its entirety anyway. Honestly, it's probably in that 6,000 emails that all the corruption is involved in. So is there a relation there? To date, we don't know of any other relation there. We know that it's very difficult to be in that town of basically 100 people and not be related to somebody. When you live in a small town like that, everybody knows everybody's business. As a matter of fact, quite a few of them stalk ours. But we're okay with that. We're completely open and we're completely transparent with what's going on in the town. We never wanted to film it. As a matter of fact, I look forward to the day where we don't have to, and I think that day is coming soon. You still have lawsuits, though, as well. Now, remember, this entire lawsuit, what's going on, George and Black Thunder? This entire lawsuit is based on information. Whenever you have a public office, such as a town hall, you have public information, which the public owns and is entitled to. So everything that happens in that office is open to the public. So I could go in and say, hey, I would like those 6,000 emails that was referred to in the town council meeting. Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to do it. It means I can do it. And eventually, I'll get to that point. But not right now. So that's public information. And what I've asked for the past 3 years is proof that you're charging me what you're charging me for my water. And what have they given me? Nothing. Nothing. While I was away, they tried to adopt a resolution under the mayorship of Laura Mott, which particularly targeted me. So we're going to charge everybody this. Jeremy's the only one that has this. Now remember, Mary told me there are other people with 2-inch lines. She wouldn't tell me who it was. Public information. Remember, she incriminated herself again. She incriminated herself if she lied. She incriminated herself if she didn't tell me who it was. I have a sneaky suspicion that she completely and totally lied. There is nobody else with a 2-inch line in Otter Creek. So that means that policy completely and totally targets me. That was an issue, and I asked for all records in the past 3+ years. Every meeting, every text, if they use their personal cell phones, this is my personal cell phone. If I use it to text George about business matters, this is now a business cell phone. It's my personal cell phone. I use it for business. It's a business cell phone now. When they use their personal cell phone, even their personal email, for anything conducted with Town Hall, that is a public record. All of that can be gathered by the people, for the people. And what have they given me? Literally nothing. Now, to get out of the lawsuit, all they had to do was give me the information. Once I had the information, then my legal team was going to go through all the information and say they're doing this illegal, they're doing this illegal, they're doing this illegal, they're doing this illegal. We're going to sue them for this, we're going to sue them for this, we're going to sue them for this. And it was going to be a mountain of lawsuits. You go, well, is that why they didn't give it to you? No, they didn't give it to me because they're completely and totally ignorant and incompetent. So what they did is they forwarded my request. So I finally, under legal counsel, made a formal request in writing and through email on video in a town council meeting. And that's where Russell went.
You requested a 2-inch meter.
No, it got changed.
Your plumber called me personally.
So Mary forwarded my request to Attorney Warm. And you know what Attorney Warm did? Emailed me and said, hey, I'm now in charge of your request. And I'm going to gather all the information and tell you how much it's going to be per copy, per document. And you know what I got? Nothing. Literally nothing after that. After 30 days, nothing. After 60 days, finally filed lawsuit. As a matter of fact, I gave them so much ridiculous time. So now their lawsuit is all about a records request. They're a public entity with public information which must be supplied to the public. That's the lawsuit. So there are individuals that go, well, Jeremy, doesn't the temporary clerk, doesn't that individual work for you? Well, the answer is yes. Temporary clerk Deanna works for me. She works for me 40 hours a week. What she does the rest of her hours of the week, I have no control over, nor do I care about. I care about her as an individual. I don't care to control what she does with the rest of her hours. And if she's working for town hall while they work to actually get the town clerk that they need permanently, that's her decision and town hall's decision. And she's more than capable and more than competent to do it. And you go, well, is that a conflict of interest? You can't have a conflict of interest if somebody works for me and works for town hall, and the whole thing is about information that's the world has access to, supposed to. There's no conflict of interest because they legally had to provide it. They still legally have to provide it. If anything, if my employee went to go to work for the other employer, town hall, and went, oh, here's the information, Jeremy, here you go. There's no conflict of interest in that. They legally have to do it anyway. Everything in that office is public information, period. Therefore, a conflict of interest cannot exist. It doesn't exist. It can't exist. What can exist is the town of Otter Creek is guilty, based off of Russ The Suss antagonizing the people he was voted to serve by saying
Sue us.
he got exactly what he wanted, a lawsuit, and it could have been avoided. All him and Mary had to do was just provide the public information. Now, from that public information, another lawsuit was going to be coming anyway, based on my water bills and what they've been illegally doing with that, and the ordinance that's illegal that targets me, and everything else that's illegal. For example, the town is in control of code enforcement. You don't get to live in the town and trash up your property. It doesn't work that way in the United States of America. We have laws and rules and regulations for the health of you and everybody else. So therefore, this democracy that Don claims and this freedom that Don claims is not a freedom. You have freedom of speech, but you defame me, you're going to live the consequences of that freedom of speech in court. You have freedom to junk your property, but if you do it, you're breaking other ordinances and laws, and therefore you will pay for those consequences in court. That's the way our system works in the United States of America. It's all legal. We have judges, we have juries, the whole deal. So Russell's getting exactly what he wanted, right? He wanted the lawsuit. Now he's got a lawsuit. I could sue the town for not doing code enforcement because in their charter, in their ordinances, they're responsible for code enforcement. What did they do about code enforcement? Nothing. That's why they wanted to be on the council. If I'm on the council, I can make sure I can junk my property and junk everybody else's property as much as possible and do nothing about it because I'm the one that's in charge of code enforcement. If I do nothing, I don't have to do anything. Nobody else has to do anything. We can trash the entire town. Well, you can also be sued for not doing your job appropriately. And the town is in one lawsuit. I sure hope the town doesn't find itself in many, many more. So why isn't Attorney Warm actually representing the town? That's a great question because he's paid on an hourly rate, although he obviously hasn't been paid for the past couple months because Russ hasn't cut any checks and Mary hasn't been there. So why won't he represent the town in this lawsuit? Well, I think there's a couple different issues. Number one, the liability of the town is so deep and he's been their attorney. He hasn't protected them from any liability. What's he going to do in the court system now? Number two, what he sent as a response is they asked for 20 more days based off of who was the new. He said, we need more time because we don't know who the new mayor is going to be. We don't know who the new town clerk is going to be. And we don't know who the town attorney is going to be. So my attorney told me already that he has removed himself or stepped down from this lawsuit. So that's what my attorney told me. We learned that also in the town council meeting that Attorney Warm will not represent the town in this matter. Now I have a sneaky suspicion it's based off of liability, number one. I think also, and again, these are my thoughts, but I think it's going to be proven over time. I think also he's going to be incriminated in some of this stuff. Remember, over 6,000 emails, and he's in communication with Mary in the bulk of it. You think he might be responsible? I think somebody would find him responsible, but I also think physically. We've seen him at one meeting. The man can't even get up and get around. How's he going to go and defend somebody in court? So I think there's a huge issue there too. And the other thing that he mentioned, well, what about insurance? Their insurance would cover them. And guess what their insurance has said? Hails to the no. Their insurance will not cover them. Their insurance will not pay for a lawyer. This is all going to be out of the pocket for the town. And who put them in that position? Mary, Russ The Suss, and the rest of the council members. Laura Mott, Don the Con, Dan, the Captain Shannon. The list goes on and on. Trying to reason with these fools, and I mean that word, fools. What they've done is completely and totally foolish. It's like trying to reason with a trapped bug in your car. You ever get in your car and you have your windows down and the bug gets in there? Maybe it's fly, mosquito, bee, whatever. And all of a sudden you're like, no, don't get there, over there, come on. No, hold a second. The insect wanted to be inside the vehicle in the first place, right? They flew in. Remember that Russ The Suss said, sue us. Okay, so he flew into the car. Now I'm in there going, do the right thing. It's like a person trying to reason with a bug trapped in a car. Like, come on, get over there. The window is right over there. You can escape right there. Just fly out. But bugs don't have the mentality. They don't have the intellect. They don't have the brains to do the right thing. And I was there the entire time trying to actually communicate and trying to help a bug get out of a car. It trapped itself. And I'm trying to say, there's the escape route. And that bug just keeps flying into the windshield. Ow! That's where the town is right now because of Russ, because of Mary, because of Don. They are the intellect of bugs trapped in a car. And I'm the person trying to say, there's the exit. The window is literally right there. That's how you get out of this. For 3 years, I pointed the direction to the open window. That's how you get out. But they're dumb bugs. Annoying, literally annoying, and can't figure out. That's how we do the right thing. That's how we get out of this. All those boxes in the back of trucks removed from town hall in the midst of a lawsuit. What was really in them? Now, Russell obviously didn't tell us the truth. Anybody can figure that out. It doesn't take a rocket scientist. It doesn't take a brain surgeon. It doesn't take me, who literally does nothing all day, to figure that out, that he was lying. The man's mouth is open. He's lying. What about Richard, though? Richard, the maintenance man. Richard, the loyal maintenance man. Loyal to a fault. You've seen Richard come to town hall. Who you haven't seen come to town hall ever is Russell during my interactions with Mary. Why? Well, number one, Russell is probably scared to death of me, and rightfully so. He should be. But Richard has come to Mary's rescue and has said things along the lines of, you are antagonizing an elderly woman. Well, I've never said anything about her age. Competency level, absolutely. Age, not a problem. I don't care about a person's age, color, gender, anything. Doesn't matter to me. Matters on the inside who they are, what they do because of who they are on the outside to other people. And what Mary was doing was downright wrong. It was theft. She was stealing. So Richard has come to her aid out of loyalty. Richard has stated to me that the council is the one that makes the rules and the guidelines and the laws out of loyalty. Now, ignorance, absolutely. But it was out of a heart of loyalty to the council. He doesn't know what he doesn't know. And so the new council and the new Madam Mayor has wanted to keep Richard on. And people have said, well, wouldn't Richard know what was in those boxes in the back of those trucks? It's a good question. As a matter of fact, the next council meeting, I want to ask him. I want to find out exactly what he has to say. Now, that next council meeting is in 3 weeks, but I want to ask him specifically, Richard, what of your knowledge was in those boxes, wagon full, everything in 2 truckloads that was taken out of town hall? What's in it? Out of loyalty, Richard may choose to lie and try and save Russell. But as of right now, what it looks like is he's actually transferred his loyalty to the new mayor and to the new council. So you have Richard, who is extremely loyal. He's only making $12 an hour, as we heard in the last meeting, which for a maintenance position, honestly, is too little. If anything, instead of hiring other town clerks, Richard's salary should have been raised for what he does for the town. And yeah, it's part-time and it's limited. His salary still should have been raised for what he does. And I firmly believe that, regardless of whether he has refused to read my meter, and I get that, and he was probably told, if Jeremy's there, don't read it. And he probably has a fear of the camera, because the camera equals accountability. If you're never doing anything wrong, you don't have to fear a camera. Camera is mightier than any other firearm or any other weapon, because it shares absolute 100% truth. This is what happened. This is what's going on. So I believe Richard did those things out of loyalty. Misplaced loyalty, absolutely. But will his new loyalty bring him to a point to actually sharing the truth with the council? I'm going to take that opportunity, and I'm going to ask in the next meeting. So where's Don the Con in all of this? Well, Don the Con has been a staple of the community for quite some time, and he's been on and off the town council. His wife actually was the town clerk that trained Mary. Now, I gotta believe in my heart of hearts that Rosemary, that's his wife's name, did not train Mary to keep an office like that. And I gotta believe in my heart of hearts that Rosemary did not teach Mary to lie and to steal and to misrepresent and to manipulate. I don't know her personally, but I find it hard to believe that a person has that in them. And the older I get, the more often I'm seeing it, and that's discouraging to me. But where does Don fit in all of this with the town and with Otter Creek? We see Don in every meeting, interrupting every person, opposing everything, regardless now whether it's been Russell or if it's been Therese. Why? Is he trying to hide something? That's the question. The real question comes to me now is, what is he trying to hide? So I have no doubt there were some benefits of him being the husband of the town clerk. For example, if there was a sealed bid auction on a fire truck, all of a sudden the town decides, you know what, we can't afford a fire department. It's a volunteer fire department. We have all this equipment. We have tens of thousands of dollars in equipment. We can't afford the volunteer fire department anymore. We're going to sell all the equipment. We're going to do a sealed bid auction. Don't you think that Rosemary goes, hey, Don, we're selling all this? And Don goes, man, I'd really like that fire truck. And Rosemary goes, well, I get all the bids. I'll tell you what the highest bid is, and then you can just bid up above that, and you're going to win it. You know it happened. I know it happened. Don got a very, very expensive fire truck, $500. With almost no miles on it, $500. Practically brand new, $500. Okay? I mean, I'm insinuating, and as Don had said in the last council meeting, are you making allegations? Yeah, absolutely. 100% I'm making allegations. And let's face it, it's probably true, right? Because what did he do once all these allegations and all this information is shared online publicly? Don, who lives in a dump himself, self-created dump and mess, and dogs laying in the road, which, by the way, the roads weren't created for dogs to lay in them. Those roads were created for safe travel for the residents, not for naps for dogs. And yet, does he do anything about his animals? No. Does he do anything about his yard? No, except he's now taken the opportunity to buy one of the biggest tarps and cover that fire truck so that nobody else can see that it's there in his yard. It's too late though. Everybody knows it. It's already been shared and everybody has seen it. So here we have now Don the Con, who knows he has the fire truck. Now he's trying to cover the fire truck. I mean, in my opinion, that looks even more suspicious than just leaving the fire truck open to the elements and saying, yeah, I got it fair and square. I don't need to cover it. I don't need to hide it. But what is he doing? He's trying to hide it. Another interesting thing, this last council meeting, George actually picked this one out. She believes Don the Con's daughter was in the back. Here, I'll show you a picture right here. What does this all mean for Town Hall? Is it open? Well, it is open now. What are those hours? I'm not there right now, so I don't know exactly what the hours are. What I can tell you is they can post what hours it will be open, and that's okay. In the past, people have said, well, the clerk works 20 hours a week. You got to have it open for those 20 hours to the public. No, you don't. You can say we're only going to be open 10 hours a week. That's fine too. Those are the hours of operation. So if they were to take the position and cut it down to 10 hours a week and they go, town hall is only open for these 10 hours, that's okay. It's just change, and people don't normally like change. I like change. I just don't like bugs in my eye. I like dollars more than I like change. But that being said, what about the 6,000 incriminating emails that was mentioned in the town hall meeting? 6,000. 6,000, which has now been told to some of the residents through public information requests that a lot of those emails, the bottom of it said, you can't make this stuff up. That's interesting because that's what George and I keep saying. We've moved into Otter Creek. You literally cannot make this stuff up. Who is the person making this stuff up? It was Mary. She's a pathological liar making stories up. It was Mary going out on witch hunts with Russ The Suss, spending the town money, tens of thousands of dollars most likely. It was Mary making stuff up about the residents. It was Mary making up nicknames for the residents. Now she has a problem with me making up nicknames. He likes to make little names and rhymes and things. Mary, this was all you. You're not innocent. As a matter of fact, I think it's going to be proven that you are one of the most manipulative and one of the most evil people in Otter Creek. And I don't say that lightly. That is a heavy, heavy thing to say. It's even a heavier thing that you have to live that out. So 6,000 emails. I do intend to make the records request to get some of those emails. And I do intend to show some of those emails. But I want that process to be a clean process, not only for us, but for the town of Otter Creek. The town of Otter Creek has to clean up Mary and Russ's mess right now. And so I would say probably in another month or so, they would probably be ready to go, you know what, here's the emails. They may even themselves at the next town meeting go, look, here's all the emails. Anybody who wants a copy, we'll get you a copy. It's 10 cents a copy. Anybody that just wants to read them, here they are all on the table. In this new administration, the transparency has been amazing. So I wouldn't be shocked if all the emails were just set out for everybody to see, for the council, for the community. That wouldn't shock me at all. And I would pay the money to get the copies of it so I can see what exactly was going on. That's 6,000 emails that they found within days. The next town council meeting is going to be a month. Can you even begin to imagine what they're going to uncover in a month? Can you begin to imagine how deep this is going to go? Can you begin to imagine who's going to be incriminated and potentially incarcerated because of all this? All because of one thing. They wanted to screw around with me. I got to ask the question. I mean this seriously. You can answer it in the comments. Do you think they're finally at the point of wishing they never messed around with me? All of this over a water bill. That's the tip of the iceberg. Look at this in the past year. I told you, I wrote Mary notes. Normal billing cycles are 30 days. Look at this. This is ridiculous. Get rid of the late fees. You mail this to me with 5 days to pay. I don't live on a 5-day payment schedule. These are notes that I wrote Mary. Here's another one. I'm charging you a $10 late fee for not having December's bill in the mail in time, Jeremy, because she kept sending me late fees no matter what. All of this over water bills, which was the tip of the iceberg of what's about to happen in the town of Otter Creek. And that water has opened up a floodgate of corruption. We're not done yet. We're nowhere near done. Even with the Attorney General getting involved, even with the state attorney getting involved, with Russ The Suss, Mary, Life is Scary, Laura Mott, and I'm sure Don the Con is going to be a part of it, and others that I haven't mentioned. Even with them getting involved, we are nowhere near done yet. As a matter of fact, I've flown back to Florida every week since I've been back to Hale's headquarters. And I'm doing it again this week. To do what? Pay my water bill. And I can't wait to see the difference in that office and with the people that are in it.